Welcome. My name is Jeff Huffman. I'm the Director of Campus Safety at Terra State Community College. Today I'd like to talk with you about Operation Geronimo. What is Operation Geronimo? It is a full-scale exercise that will be conducted on our campus on April 7th at approximately 10 a.m. until about 1 p.m. Some of the things that we will cover today when talking about the operation will be elements in which we're going to be graded that day by the state evaluators of Ohio. During that exercise, we're going to test the emergency response systems within the campus and then also test the emergency response of area law enforcement, EMS, and fire. Some of the things we want to talk about today are what is the full-scale exercise and what will it consist of? It will consist of multi-agencies involved, such as fire, police, state patrol. They will be on campus along with hazmat teams to conduct not only emergency preparedness for their response to a situation on our campus, but they'll be tested on hazmat spills on our campus along with communications. And this will test our ability internally and externally to respond to such things as an active shooter and or a man-made disaster. Some of the things we'll also be covering today is lockdowns and shelter in place, what are the differences between the two, and some of the practical skills training that we've already initiated to be prepared for this exercise. An example of a full-scale exercise, a definition of that would be, we try to make it as real as possible. We ask people to actively move stuff in the classroom to barricade the doors, but not break any windows or damage any furniture. But this is as close as we can get to the real thing if we had a real life situation, to get everybody in that mindset of how would I respond to an active shooter on campus. Some of the campus objectives are going to be, as I said before, our emergency response procedures, how we're going to react to that, how we will adjust and recover relating to our business continuity plan, disaster recovery, and also the Public Employees Risk Reduction Program, which deals with have we addressed hazards within our college to make it safe for not only the staff but our students. And with that also comes our behavioral intervention team, which commonly is used for emergency situations in which we address anything that might come to light. Our goal here today is to eliminate the chaos. When you're put in a situation like that, it is very chaotic. We will just, as I said, present a mindset for the students and staff, and hopefully they will react properly to the situation at hand. Again, the exercise will begin April 7th, 2015 at 10 a.m. This will continue on until 1 p.m. And after such time, we will have an after-actions review in Building G, the Neely Center, and we will find out from the state evaluators what went right, what went wrong. So who will be involved in the exercise? We have the City of Fremont Police Department along with the Fire Department, Sandusky County Emergency Management Agency along with the Sheriff's Office, County EMS, Health Department, hazmat teams, tactical teams, Engineer Office, and also State Patrol. Other organizations that are going to be utilized during that exercise will be the American Red Cross and ProMedica Memorial Hospital. One of the things we want to do campus safety related is to determine the threat. Campus safety will be the first line of defense in which to communicate to staff and students, do we go into a lockdown procedure or do we go into a shelter in place? A lockdown procedure commonly refers to we have a human predator on campus. It's either inside or outside the campus, and it's a terrorist activity. Shelter in place is chemical, biological, or radiological hazards on the campus, which refers to a hazmat spill. Some of the things that we want to address that day, our objectives are dealing with the hazard material spills. Commonly there are two types, a major and a minor. A major obviously is hazmat spill ourselves. We would call in a hazmat team from the county and they would handle the situation and take charge of the campus. A minor spill is obviously something that we can handle ourselves. That day we'll be dealing with an armed intruder. One of the things that we like to do for campus safety and through the behavioral intervention team is get people to tell us, to recognize a potential threat. Is there a student that is acting odd or writing papers that seem odd or talk about an active shooter situation? Or do we have a situation where the person needs medical attention or mental attention? And that's where the security and the behavioral intervention team come into play. Next, I'd like to show you an active shooter movie that will depict an active shooter and what to do on campus if you're faced with that reality.
We have an active shooter. Stand by for further information.
Tragedies such as the 2007 mass shooting on the campus of Virginia Tech, the 2009 shooting at the Fort Hood, Texas military post, and the 2011 attempted assassination of Representative Gabrielle Giffords at a public appearance in Arizona are all examples of active shooter situations. An active shooter is an individual actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people inside an occupied structure or outside in a populated area. In most cases, there is no pattern or method to their selection of victims. Active shooter situations are unpredictable and evolve quickly. It is important to be prepared for such an event. Make it a practice to identify potential escape routes and have a plan in mind, even if you are just visiting a facility. In the event of a shooting at your location, you must quickly determine the most reasonable way to protect your own life. You will need to determine if the best course of action is to evacuate or to hide. Call 911 when it is safe to do so. If there is an accessible escape route, attempt to evacuate. Be sure to leave your belongings behind. Help others escape if possible, but do not attempt to move wounded people. Evacuate regardless of whether others agree to follow. Warn individuals not to enter an area where the active shooter may be, and follow the instructions of any police officers. If evacuation is not the best option, find a place to hide where the shooter is less likely to find you. And be sure your hiding place does not trap or restrict you or your options for movement. Consider the difference between cover and concealment. Cover will protect you from gunfire, and concealment will hide you from the view of the shooter. Quickly choose the best option. If you are caught out in the open and cannot conceal yourself or take cover, you might consider trying to overpower the shooter with whatever means are available. To protect your hiding place, lock the door if you can. Block the door with heavy furniture, and close, cover, and move away from windows. Hide behind large items such as cabinets or desks. Remain quiet. Silence your cell phone and/or pager. Even the vibration setting can give away a hiding position. When you call 911, remember to tell the operator the location of the active shooter. If there are multiple shooters, physical description of and number of weapons held by the shooter, as well as the number of potential victims at the location. When law enforcement arrives on the scene, their primary goal is to eliminate the threat and stop the shooter as soon as possible. First responders will not be able to stop to help injured persons until the environment is safe. Knowing what to expect will help keep you calm and allow law enforcement to quickly neutralize the threat. Officers may arrive in teams with tactical equipment such as vests, helmets, and rifles. They will need to take command of the situation. Expect to experience officers shouting orders and even pushing people to the ground for their safety. It is possible that officers from multiple jurisdictions will arrive on the scene. When law enforcement officials arrive, it is important that you keep your hands visible at all times. Avoid making any sudden movements. Avoid pointing, screaming, and/or yelling. Put down any items. Immediately raise your hands and spread your fingers. Remain calm and follow instructions. Do not stop to ask officers for help when evacuating. Just proceed in the direction from which officers are entering the location. For more awareness resources, please visit dhs.gov/critical infrastructure.
Some of the things that we emphasize to campus safety, through campus safety to our employees and our students is if you're confronted with an active shooter, if you can get out, get out. If you can keep them out, keep them out. Lock the door, barricade the door. Hide within the room. Call out if you're able to. Use your cell phone or the campus phones that are in each one of the classrooms, or if you can, use a phone that's in the hallways. Or you might have to make that ultimate decision to take out the actual shooter. This is only a decision that can be made by you. When we talk about the active shooter, we want to develop that mindset, not only with our employees, but our students. Can the students get out? Can they barricade the door or wedge the door with an object within the room? What doors or what exits are nearby that they can escape if need be? Are the rooms able to be locked? Do the windows open? And if the windows do open, and say you're on a second story, can you survive the jump to the ground? One of the things I want to emphasize is that if you do decide to jump from a window, make sure that you don't become a casualty yourself. Some of the things that you have to make a decision on when you're confronted with an active shooter situation is, do you stay or do you play dead? Do you run down the hallway to an exit in a zigzag pattern to avoid being shot? Or do you attack the shooter? Again, this is only a decision that can be made by you. In each one of the classrooms, we have an emergency quick reference guide. These guides will guide you through the process of an armed intruder, threatening disturbances or accidents on campus, hazardous material spills, and or any other type of emergency you might encounter on campus. And one thing I'm emphasizing to students and staff is to go to the campus safety website and review the emergency response manual that we have linked to that. That will give you a summary of what to do in case you need to evacuate or respond to an emergency situation on campus. That day of the exercise, some of the communications that we will use, one being Informacasts. This is linked to our network to telephone system, and this gives us a way to mass notify people in case we have an emergency situation on campus. We have the ability to have pre-recorded messages put out, but yet we also have the ability to go live with that system and give you current and up-to-date information. Another source of a mass notification system that we have at Terra is called Terra Alert. This is a software ran by E2 Campus, which allows us to notify not only internally but externally through the computer systems and also Facebook. This is a great way to communicate if we had a man-made disaster, an active shooter, or a chemical spill, what to do and where to evacuate to. Some of the messages you might hear are similar to the slide. There's a serious incident on campus, shelter in place immediately, lock yourself in the nearest room, or move away from the door and windows and seek cover. Await further instructions. Anyone on campus can receive these if you are signed up with Terra Alert. If you need help signing up for Terra Alert, I strongly advise you to get a hold of security at 2253. Some of the preparation that we've taken to get ready for April 7th, the active shooter situation and chemical spill, we've started to train our employees. This was a mandatory training that we held on January 30th, and it's typically what we call convocation. This ran us through a multi-scenarios of an active shooter situation and what to do if you're in a classroom setting and an active shooter enters the room and tries to hurt you. Many of the employees were able to respond to it and react to it and get that mindset started. We've also met with outside organizations such as the Rotary Club and veterans organizations, along with faculty divisions, directors and deans meetings. So we've really took the extra effort to make sure that everybody is on the same page as far as what to do that day of the exercise and to have a good, safe exercise. As I said before, we've attended organization meetings with the students. We've also linked a video to Facebook, which you will see shortly. We also have prepared written statements throughout to communicate with the students and or the community. Prior to the exercise, we will begin a campaign of communications not only through news releases, but the newspapers and social media like that. We will strongly emphasize so that loved ones do not think that on April 7th is an actual real active shooter situation. And we want to make sure that we have nobody get hurt that day. Some of the things I like to emphasize when we're doing the training with our staff and our students is the fact that if we would have an active shooter situation, everyone needs to bond together as a group and become a team and to respond to not only your injured persons, but you might have handicapped people in your classrooms This is vital that I usually require at least assigning 2 people to that group and recognizing and maybe assess the injuries to that person so that when EMS arrives, you can tell them what exactly is wrong with the person if they're unconscious. Now, one of the things that we've incorporated throughout the buildings is we have building coordinators. Building coordinators, and in a real-life emergency, will have on yellow vest. They will be directing everyone to the appropriate, either a tornado shelter, evacuation point in our parking lots, what we commonly refer to as rally points, and they will guide you through the process to get us safely to a recovery center. Thank you.